Welcome to The Explainer. If you just glance at the daily headlines, you might actually think the power dynamics of the Middle East are pretty much set in stone. But today, we're doing a deep dive to decode a massive, multi-layered strategic maneuver by Egypt that is flying completely under the radar. Pulling from a ton of recent intelligence reports, leaked defense briefings, and international press, we're going to look at how this nation has quietly, but methodically, transformed its entire military and diplomatic posture. We're going way past the headlines today to look at the hardware, the software, and the secret diplomacy that is literally reshaping an entire region. To really wrap our heads around the scale of what's happening right now between Egypt, Israel, and Gaza, we have to look at this totally stark contrast. Historically, the Camp David agreements kept the Sinai Peninsula effectively demilitarized. We're talking strict caps, around 750 security personnel in specific zones. That was the rule. But look at the reported reality today. A heavily militarized border with actual armed forces stationed, in some spots, within just 100 meters of the line. It's a staggering shift. How exactly did a demilitarized desert turn into one of the most heavily fortified regions in the world right under the international community's nose?
So here is our roadmap for today. Section 1. Sinai Defense Strategic Maneuvers. 2. Great Eye Electronic Jamming. 3. Partnerships with Pakistan and China. 4. The Secret Spanish Sovereignty Deal. And finally, 5. Navigating Gulf Regional Conflicts. Let's just dive right in.
Section 1. Sinai Defense Strategic Maneuvers. Let's take a look at the immediate, physical realities unfolding right now on the ground in the Sinai Peninsula.
500 kilometers. Now, according to recent reports, Egypt hasn't just moved troops around. They've actually positioned a formidable missile wall just 5 to 10 kilometers from the Israeli border, and it boasts a reported range of over 500 kilometers. This strategically anchors a huge shift. It effectively places the entirety of neighboring territories right within direct range, fundamentally altering the traditional security dynamic we're so used to seeing in the region.
And to back up that kind of firepower, Egypt has completely overhauled Sinai's infrastructure for massive, rapid military deployment. They've built 4 major military bases. We're talking brand new military airports, both above ground and, get this, underground. They've established a strategic military port up in El Arish capable of handling vast quantities of hardware. And to tie the whole shebang together, they've laid down over 2,000 kilometers of new railway networks. This isn't just a basic border defense anymore. It's a permanent, high-capacity military logistical hub.
Section 2. Great Eye Electronic Jamming. Because physical infrastructure is really only half the battle in modern warfare, right? We need to look at the covert tech enabling all of this.
Recent reports have been detailing the arrival of highly sophisticated imported Chinese technology that creates something called the closed box effect. Imagine essentially layering the sky with atmospheric jamming frequencies. This tech allows a military to selectively blind foreign surveillance satellites and reconnaissance networks. In practice, it literally turns the Sinai airspace into an impenetrable box. Egypt can basically flip the lights on and off at will, revealing specific ground movements they actually want adversaries to see, while perfectly hiding the assets they want to keep completely secret.
And this is definitely not just theoretical. Listen to this quote from Eli Deckel, who's a reserve officer in the Israeli military. He plainly stated, "We're unable to operate military bases in the south or even the weapons located there due to communications jamming." So the big takeaway here is that this electronic warfare is having a very tangible, immediate impact right now, severely degrading the operational capabilities of those high-tech defense networks just across the border.
Now, while that closed box blinds their neighbors, the Great Eye gives Egypt unprecedented regional surveillance. The Great Eye is this massive, highly advanced radar system installed right in central Sinai. It provides incredibly deep intelligence gathering straight into neighboring territories, sweeping across Israel and reaching as far as Jordan. They've essentially flipped the script on regional intelligence entirely, and they did it without firing a single conventional shot.
Okay, Section 3. Partnerships with Pakistan and China. Because you're probably wondering, where on earth is all this cutting-edge technology actually coming from? Let's zoom out. Check out this massive influx of Eastern military tech. Egypt is actively engaging in joint manufacturing programs with Pakistan for the JF-17 Thunder fighter jets. They're also diving into tech transfers for highly destructive cruise missiles with ranges well over 350 kilometers. Plus, Egypt has been right there alongside Pakistan and China, developing and co-producing advanced Hangor-class submarines over in Sanya, China. The crucial point here? They aren't just buying weapons off the shelf anymore, they are acquiring the hard technology to build them themselves.
And the integration goes even deeper than that. Recent reports are indicating that between 13 to 15 advanced Chinese J-10C fighter jets have actually been stationed in Egypt for testing by Egyptian pilots. Astonishingly, it's reported that these jets successfully flew the massive distance from Cairo to Beijing without needing a single mid-air refuel. This is an absolutely unprecedented leap in long-range aerial capabilities, and it has reportedly sparked some real concern in Western defense circles.
Which brings us to a really provocative question, actually derived from recent Pakistani press leaks. Is Egypt collaborating with Pakistan on nuclear research and development? The sheer depth of the technological sharing we're seeing in conventional, drone, and missile sectors has defense analysts seriously wondering if this partnership is bleeding into deep, strategic, non-conventional arenas. It's a massive, lingering question that could, frankly, fundamentally alter global security paradigms.
Section 4. Secret Spanish sovereignty deal. But wait, Egypt isn't just looking east. While the eastern deals get a lot of attention, there's a highly secretive armament package coming out of the west that is equally vital.
So the Spanish press recently leaked the existence of something called the Comprehensive Sovereignty Deal between Spain and Egypt. But here's the crazy part. It is a secret so well kept that practically nobody seems to know what's actually inside it.
What's really interesting here is the absolute silence surrounding the details. Spanish publications describe it as a qualitative leap in military relations, which hints at massive, comprehensive updates to naval and ground equipment. But are we talking about cutting-edge S-80 submarines, advanced frigates? The specifics are heavily guarded. This strategy of silent, rapid modernization is brilliant because it diversifies their suppliers so completely that no single global power can bottleneck their military readiness.
Finally, Section 5. Navigating Gulf Regional Conflicts. Let's see how these brand new capabilities give Egypt some immense geopolitical leverage in their own neighborhood.
So recently, Anwar Gargash, a top diplomatic advisor in the UAE, publicly praised Egypt for its vital military support. When the press started digging into what that support actually looked like, the details were stunning. Egypt has reportedly supplied the UAE with advanced drones, complete air defense networks, offensive missiles, and some really crucial intelligence data. As the power dynamics constantly shift between Gulf states like Saudi Arabia and the UAE, Egypt has maneuvered itself into being not just an ally, but an indispensable primary defense supplier. And this newfound leverage, it totally extends to Europe, too. With the US threatening to scale back NATO involvement, the EU recently proposed a formal European military alliance to counter Russian influence, and they actually invited Egypt to join. Egypt's response was basically a masterclass in strategic neutrality. They outright refused the formal military alliance to avoid getting entangled in a direct conflict with Russia. However, they readily agreed to co-manufacture and supply weapons to this new European coalition, so they avoid the political crossfire entirely while still profiting immensely as a manufacturing hub.
Naturally, the major global powers are reacting to all of this. Noticing Egypt's rapid ascent and their totally independent maneuvering, the United States recently secured a $100 million military equipment deal, along with a limited troop presence, right next door in neighboring Tunisia. It shows the major powers are scrambling. They're directing their focus right back to North Africa, which is a great reminder that local border shifts can instantly rewrite global defense priorities.
So, we arrive at our final thought for today. Over the last decade, we have watched a nation completely transform the Sinai from a quiet, demilitarized buffer zone into an absolute, impenetrable fortress. They've blinded sophisticated surveillance with the closed box, they're peering deep into rival territories with the Great Eye, and they've established these formidable manufacturing pipelines with Pakistan, China, and Europe. By shifting from just a regional participant into a global defense manufacturing hub, has Egypt fundamentally rewritten the balance of power in the Middle East? It's a reality the rest of the world is literally only just waking up to. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.